Okay, ask everyone to come in. Oh my god, oh my god, babe, high five, babe, high five. Babe, babe, high five. Oh my god, this is happening.
Ay. Oh my goodness, what a terrible,
But
scary
I
thing
tell you,
this
it's epic, it's epic, it's epic.
is. Epic. Let me put this here. So I can see. Hello!
Hi
Hi,
everyone.
everybody!
Hi. Welcome to True Crime CoffeeTalk. I'm so sorry about just now. Okay, I think regardless of how many times we try to do this, it's still two ladies and a man. So
Yes, yes,
very
yes.
overpowering.
But
The
anyway,
women energy.
we took a little bit longer, but at least we get it sorted out, lah. Okay, for
We did.
today, you are just private audience because this live stream is only on this private group. It is not going to be in public for today. There's some glitch, but it's okay. So it's a private show. First one, pilot. Okay, so we're going to wait for a few more people to come in. Hi, Dorcas. Hi, Cynthia. Hi,
Hi,
Cynthia. Hi.
Dorcas.
Hi, everybody. Hi, Lippy. Okay, so we're going to wait for a few more people to join in first before we start the show proper. Okay, first of all, my name is Grace, and this is my co-host,
Hi, I'm Serene.
Serene.
Nice to
Okay,
have you
maybe
guys here
Serene,
tonight.
you share with them what is True Crime Coffee Talk all about.
Okay, so we are basically crime junkies lah. Since I was a kid, right, I always envisioned myself doing this. Either as a crime broadcaster or a crime news anchor. And finally, I have this platform thanks to Grace and my team. So a shout out to Ivan and Wilfred behind the scene. Thank you guys for setting this whole thing up. Less than a month. It was less than a month. I can still remember less than a month ago, I pitched this to Grace. I'm like, babe, let's just do this. On the phone for 4 hours. She was not easy. She was not. She was classy. She was like, let me think. You know what? If we can't score this, I'm like, we will fly lah. The kind of thing and all. And then after that, she suddenly, randomly, at first she was hesitant. After 4 hours, she was like, you know what? Let's just do this. She could have saved
And I
me
think
four
it's a
hours.
very it's a very interesting genre to be talking about crimes. We're going to be doing things like local crime for this first season, and then we will progress to maybe international crime on the second season ongoing. And of course, everything that we talk about here in TCC is going to be linked to another channel of ours, which is the
Singapore Confessions, short form for Singapore
Yes.
Con.
Okay, so Singapore Confession is going to be a totally different show from TCC, but it's interlinked. We're going to talk about a lot of stuff under the sun, which it could be very thought-provoking, very controversial, very personal, but definitely something that is very interesting to everyone. Right?
Yeah.
Okay, we have
So
like 13
as much
people right now.
as True Crime Coffee Talk is all about crime, Singapore Confession is all about you guys. So now we are opening a platform to anyone who wants to share, rant, vent, whatever, as long as you keep it classy. And you should all stay tuned to our topics because it's quite epic. Unorthodox, non-mainstream, something that you guys feel inside, but it's like it's all suppressed. I'm gonna bring it out because I'm anarchist that way. so we'll do it. We'll launch soon. And
Right,
thanks
so
for spending
we have about 14.
Friday with us.
Yeah, we have about 14 people right now joining us on the show itself. I think most of you who have seen the trailer early on, you will realize that today we're talking about one of the very high profile case in Singapore, which is in the 80s. It shocked the country. How could such a thing happen? How could Singapore be so safe and something like this actually happen? And what actually went on? What went wrong during then? So we're going to dissect the story and maybe try to explain why and how it happened, and when it happened, how does it impact everybody in Singapore back then in the 80s. Yeah. What's the time now? Do we have enough time? Shall we just start with the story? Toa Payoh ritual killing. In 1981, Adrian Lim, his wife Catherine Tan, and mistress Ho Kah Hong kidnapped, tortured, and killed 2 young children, 9-year-old Agnes Ng and 10-year-old Ghazali bin Marzuki. On January 25, 1981, a man returning home after the midnight show found the first victim, Agnes Ng, curled up in a fetal position. Her body was found in a brown vinyl travel bag at about 2:20 a.m. near a staircase at Block 11, Toa Payoh. Agnes was waiting for her sister and a friend at the front gates of the Church of the Risen Christ in Toa Payoh at about 4 p.m. on January 24th. She was abducted by Ho and taken to Lim's flat. He sexually abused her before suffocating her. Less than 2 weeks after the discovery of Agnes, Ghazali bin Marzuki was found near a hedge just in front of Block 10 in Toa Payoh. The day he was abducted, he was staying with his grandmother at Block 344 Clementi Avenue 5 for the Chinese New Year holiday. He was playing with 2 cousins at the playground when Ho Ka Hong asked for help to collect some things from a friend's house, and Ghazali agreed to help her. They went off in a taxi and she brought him to Adrian Lim's flat. On February 7th, Ghazali was found near a hedge just in front of Block 10. He was drugged with a sedative, choked, and then drowned. His head was pushed into a tub of water. Ex-cop Mr. Menon said he was just lying there on a grass patch just meters away from Adrian Lim's block. There was a trail of blood leading from Ghazali's body all the way to Adrian Lim's house at Block 12. The police followed the blood trail and went to the 7th floor and found Adrian Lim dressed in a shirt and pants and looked like he was going to make a run for it. They asked to search his home. It was very messy inside, and in the kitchen the police found bloodstains on the floor. When asked about it, he said Chinese New Year was just over and he had been killing chickens in the kitchen. Mr. Menon said, "The house was very eerie. It was lit with amber light, and right in front when you go in is the altar." Officers found various religious items in the flat, and on the altar there were crucifixes and Hindu and Chinese idols, some of which were smeared with blood. Police seized all the evidence. Lim and the 2 women were arrested and taken into custody. The trio confessed that the murders were an act of revenge and were quoted saying, "We decided to kill small children to get even with the whole world." A few months prior to the murders, there was a rape charge against Adrian Lim, and he was angry and frustrated with the constant questioning by the investigators. He said that by killing children and offering them as a sacrifice to the deity Kali, the goddess would help him escape the rape charge and solve other problems. On May 23, 1983, all 3 of them were sentenced to death. They were hanged on November 25, 1988 at Changi Prison and cremated at Mount Vernon Crematorium. Right.
Okay. Yeah, right. So this story, right, Adrian Lima is very infamous in Singapore. Everyone knows about him. But what really went on? Like me and Grace, when we wanted to do this story first, we were thinking like, could it be something? Is it a psychological disorder that he has? Like, is it a mental illness? Was it something paranormal, or you know, was he really crazy? So we were like, so let's give you a brief history of like who his holy wife were and how come he chose them. So we realized that both of these women have the same kind of childhood, same kind of background. Catherine and Ho, right, they were both abandoned when they were kids. So I personally think that they wouldn't mind hurting children because they themselves were hurt as kids. So when Adrian Lim pitched this kind of thing to them, I think it was easier for Adrian Lim to, convince them that they should do this.
Maybe let's ask the audience, like, how many of you, or how old were you when this case happened? Do you remember reading anything on the newspaper? Do you live in Toa Payoh? Do you happen to know him? Anybody? Adrian Lim goes to the church that I was baptized in. Okay, but back then in the 80s, I was still a very young child. So I wasn't baptized until I was like 20 years old. So I didn't know that he was from my church. Judy was born in the 80s. So Judy, you probably would know. You'd be very young when it happened. I remember when I was like in 1985, around there, in the 80s, probably in primary school around there. And I heard from my mom that the boy Ghazali who was being abducted was actually living the next block to me in Holland Close. Um, yeah, so his grandma stays in Clementi, which is not that far away from us. Yeah, so I feel at the time the parents would be very worried, like my kids can be taken away so easily, and kids are very trusting. They probably haven't taught about how to not speak to strangers and not follow any strangers. I don't know why, but the kids back then are very innocent, and maybe kids nowadays are smarter, not so gullible. Yeah, so maybe we talk about Adrian Lim first. Now, Adrian Lim is a person born in the 1940s. He started off his early life pretty okay. He lives in Serangoon Gardens, a well-to-do family. But he doesn't seem to be very well liked in his neighborhood also, because I was speaking to one of the aunties, and she said that her brother um, used to be Adrian Lim's friend, and her father went to Adrian Lim's family and told his parents that Adrian Lim is not to be mixed around with her son, his son. He doesn't allow them to be together. So they lost contact after that. Until many, many years later, he read the newspaper. They say he killed two children, and then he read, oh my God, this is the person that I used to know. And Adrian Lim, he was a church warden. He got married very young to his childhood sweetheart. Had two children, worked in radio fusion as some technician and bill collector. So he had a pretty good life until he met a person called Uncle Willie, where he had some interest in learning about black magic and all that. And he actually did learn from him. And Uncle Willie did taught him a lot of stuff like love potion or some magic spells, love spells, even to the extent of teaching him the egg and needle trick. Okay, that this egg and needle trick is something that Adrian Lim has mastered so well that back then anybody who see that trick, right, will believe in him. So now it's like, why do people actually believe in that? Do people back in the 80s really believe in all this supernatural stuff, superstitions,
I
or
think he
magic
was
powers that someone possess? Yeah,
yeah, I think he
but
was a very
why?
charismatic person. Even my family, my brother and my mother and my grandmother, they all knew him. They all stayed at the Toa Payoh previously. So there's something about him, right? So even though he was quite arrogant and a very prideful man, but he opened his house and his life to everyone, that they feel very welcome. Like if they need a place to crash, they can go over to his place. When they can gamble or they can find any spiritual guidance, because apparently he's able to bless them, you know, with what they want, and also take away curse and any illness and sickness and all. So he knows how to like mingle among them, right? Even
I
the
think he got himself quite a good reputation
yeah,
doing
he
what
did
he
he
do.
did. Even my
Yeah, but
brother
of course,
actually spent a lot of time with him in his house, so when my brother told me about this story, I'm like, oh my goodness, it could have been you. So we also come to the conclusion that probably Adrian Lim wouldn't target my brother, because Adrian Lim was good friends with my grandmother. So my grandmother goes to Adrian Lim house and gamble all the time.
at that time,
They
was he still married with his wife, or his wife already left him?
Actually, I have no idea. But my brother's 7 years older than me. I was born in 81. So this killing took place before I was born. I was born in September. This took
Mm,
place in January, February, right? So my brother was only seven
mm,
years old. My brother went to catechism class in Risen Christ Church with Agnes. They were friends. They played together at the playground. They went to class together. Uh, the day when Agnes went missing, the last time they saw her, my brother and my grandfather were walking out of church. then my grandfather saw Agnes. He was like, Agnes, what are you doing here? Why you don't go home? Then Agnes was like, oh, I wait for Zeze. Then my grandfather was like, better go home earlier. That was the last time they saw her. So she was waiting there for her sister. So my mom also knows Adrian Lim, right? So she was like, he was a church warden and all lah, you know. And then he very like 6:30 one lah. Sometimes Catholicism, sometimes Christianity, sometimes Buddhism, sometimes Hinduism. So he, I think he um deliver what people wants. Like if he sees like this race, then you know he will be like, oh, I'm well versed in this race. So he got many target audience, he got many customers,
Mm.
you know. And then after that,
Mm.
my brother and Agnes, they know each other. They played all the time and all. Then my brother goes to
Mm.
Adrian Lim's house as well. Then he sit on the lap. So Adrian Lim was known as Apui at that time, like
Mhm.
in the Toa Payoh kampong. So he had time like, hey
Mm.
Apui, they were like friends. Then he would take things and throw at Adrian Lim, and Adrian Lim will just laugh it
Mm.
off. He was actually very nice to his friends. Adrian was nice to my grandmother. He was nice to my brother. And when my brother beat him or threw things at him, Adrian will just laugh it off and pat my brother on the head. You know, they give that kind of affection to my brother. So when
Mm.
this whole thing happened, everyone was like, "Oh my god, I couldn't believe it was Adrian Lim." You know, like that thing and all. Yeah.
Then I've got a question from Judy Ng. She said, "Oh my God, then what happened to his children?" So basically, when Adrian Lim started his occult, he wanted to do his practice and all that. He didn't start from his house. He actually rented a room from somebody, and he used it as a studio. And then he do his treatment and whatever from that room. So what happened is he got to know Catherine during that time, and Catherine was only 19 years old. She just left the home that she was staying at, and she went back home, and I think her grandmother passed away, so she was working in a bar. So Adrian met him. Adrian met her, and then of course he liked her like, because she's young and all that, right? So eventually what happened was he made Catherine his holy wife. Okay, so how he do it is he will just like hold your hand, then you pray together. He put a ring on your finger, then he tie a yellow sash, then he pray in front of the altar. He light up like uh, 7 or 9 joss-stick and candles, and ring the bell to know 9 times. He said, okay, now you're my wife. Okay. So then after that, he wanted Catherine to go to his house and stay. So he brought Catherine into his home, and he told his wife, oh, this is just a friend, she's gonna stay here. Then the wife was like, are you having something or not? Are you like something's going on with you? I said, no, we're not, we're just friends. But after staying for 3 months, right, the wife realized that this is not the case, because Adrian Lim and her were sleeping together. So she got angry. She want to kill herself, big drama and all that. She took the kids and then she left. So the wife wasn't there when the killing was going on. She divorced him, and then raised the kids by herself. And then after that, they divorced already. Catherine and Adrian got married. So Catherine, this character is one of the most, I feel, as a woman looking at her, I feel that she's very poor thing, because she was very young. She was only 19 years old, and got to know him at the lowest point of her life, because she think that her parents don't love her. Her grandmother passed away, and her grandmother is very close to her. So when you have somebody who come to you and offer you a lot of comfort, like, oh, I'm very nice to you, I want to talk to you, he didn't even like want to sleep with her at the very beginning. It's just, oh, I just hug you, cuddle you, then skin. He called it, he's very funny. He said, it's just a body interaction. So there's no intercourse. It's just hugging naked. But of course, like after a while, something will happen, right? So she kind of like fall in love with him, and she willingly love him and adore him. But also there's some kind of fear in her, because he will exercise fear. He will pretend that he key tang he got trust then after that he will say, oh, the datuk is him, then he will have like a few different spirit in him, one being the datuk lah, one being the don't know what grandmaster, and then there's one called long time no see, who apparently one of them is a violent one. He will start slapping you, beating you up and all that. So I think Catherine, as a person at that age, she was fearful of him. And after marrying him, then he forced her to become a prostitute to earn money for him. Striptease lah, prostitute lah. They even go traveling around and do sex acts as a performance. Okay, but that one he never elaborate a lot, even during the trial. He didn't elaborate a lot. He's like, oh, it's the past, we don't talk about it, we talk about the murder. Yeah, so that was Catherine's story, and that explains why his children are not there with him when all this is going on. Yeah.
I think that he couldn't have done it without the two ladies as well. I feel like the three of them have equal say and power in this whole thing. If Adrian Lim was flying solo, I think he wouldn't dare to do this. So
He's a coward.
so I think they supported each other in this entire murder. So Catherine and Ho have the same childhood, same sort of background. Both of them were neglected and abandoned when they were kids, and then both of them were dependent on Adrian Lim for love. If you're gonna call it, like they needed some sort of comfort from Adrian Lim. And
Mm.
from what I hear from people I know, I think Adrian Lim is quite famous in the village. So to be his hookup, I think for him to collect you is a trophy on its own already. What? So these two girls felt
Yeah.
like, oh, I can score Adrian Lim, man. Like he's like the bomb at that point of time.
Okay.
Regardless of how he looked, but he's popular. What? I mean, you also know of,
His face lah.
yeah, dude. I know. I'm putting my mic on his face actually for for some sort of like a platform.
He
So
say he's a ladies' man. Oh my
yes,
God.
correct. So Adrian Lim, right? Yeah. So Adrian Lim, but you see, there are many famous and good-looking people who are not good-looking, but they still got the chicks. What? They still got the chicks, right?
Well,
Because they are good at what they do. They are psychopath, right? So psychopath, they think differently from us. They process differently. But you tell a psychopath, like, okay, you tell a normal person donut, gelato, coffee, they were like, nice. Then you tell us mutilation, murder, blood. Then we're like, oh man. But for them, they're like, oh dude, that's so cool. So that's how they process their thoughts differently. So Adrian Lim was probably like that. But I personally believe he wouldn't have done it without them. So like Uncle
but he's
Willie,
also
he thought, yeah.
sorry. He's also a very scheming person. I would
Mm.
think at that time he's quite advanced. He's quite smart.
He
He knows how to
is.
read your mind.
Yeah.
He
So
can
I think it's
tell.
all about sex
He
and
can ask.
money.
Yeah, he can ask you questions to size you up, no, to know exactly what you're afraid of. And then he will like, oh, you don't believe me when I do the again. You don't believe me, right? I take out my egg. I take my egg. I take the egg. I rub on your body. Rub, 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 rub. Then after he put in a bowl. Say, you go and break the egg. So as
I
a
think he got a lot of referral
you
also
want to help.
what.
Yeah,
A
then
lot of
you break
people
the egg,
refer
right?
each other. Yeah.
Yeah. Then they broke the egg, and then inside is what? No? Needles.
Yeah.
Blackened needles.
You see
And
his
then,
target
I
audience.
took out the needles from. Yeah, I took out the needles from your body already. Then he will charge you a sum of money. But if he thinks that, oh, well, this one very chill, this one easy to makan one. You need to do something in order to get rid of the bad luck. Then you can be better. And the customers are usually like buggers or
Yeah.
in the
So
nightlife one.
okay.
So
So
they want to have.
before we discriminate buggers and hosters at that time, we must also know that they might have their reasons for going to him as well. Because I know they are a very collective group that people stereotype like, oh, they are dumb or they are gullible or vulnerable. So
I think they are competitive in a sense because when they work
yeah.
in that environment,
Exactly.
right, they
Yeah.
want the customer to keep coming back to them, and they don't want
Yeah.
like, oh,
So no
my
hate to
big fish
buggers or
is going to
anything
that
or
woman.
hostess.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
they believe in
Correct.
like
Yeah.
keeping like things like toyo or even what's the one in Thailand? The one they keep.
Oh, the
What's that
kumantong?
thing called? Yeah, that kind of thing, yang xiao gui, so that your business is very good because money to them is the biggest at that time. What else do you have? Earn money
Yeah.
only, lor.
So
So
I
he identified that. Yeah, he identified that in them. So he will like make them believe that, oh, you sleep with me, then you will get hot your business. Okay, maybe in a sense, some of them really get better businesses. So when that happened, they will ask their friend to come. My sister, my cousin, my best friend, my colleague, everybody come to him. So at the end of the whole entire thing, right, his entire con artist career, he had like 40 holy wives. So these 40 women all believe that they are the only one holy wife because they don't know each other, ma. So they all think that they are the one special chosen one.
but he
Okay,
was
and
lucky
Catherine,
because if he yeah.
yeah, and Catherine is like she's reached a stage whereby, because they don't sleep together anymore already, right? The last couple of years of their life. So she's like, okay, lor, you want to bring, then I will just help you to tell the girl that, oh, I'll check the body. Okay, this one can. She to the extent, she'll check the whole body, strip them naked, cut their pubic hair and put on and say, oh, this is for the offering for whatever lah. It's some kind of a black magic that he claims that he can do, and this will just blindly believe in him.
But I think he's lucky, because at that time, in the 80s, it's easy to score that sort of customers, right? There is no I mean, people cannot go and research about him. Then he got a lot of a referral from
No
people
internet.
and all. No
Yeah, no
internet,
internet.
As long as
All
someone
word of
say
mouth
that,
one. No.
oh, after I went to take the love potion from Adrian Lim, I just rub here a bit, then I got more customers that night, I got more money. So these dance hostess and the nightclub girls, they all mingle together one ma. So probably when a girl is feeling like down or out of luck, then the girl was like, go and find this dude lah, this medium. Probably at that point of time, there are many others as well, So Adrian Lim, he acquired himself a big following because it happened in the 80s. If it happened right now, you go to Yelp, lor, he get 1-star review, maybe even taken down on Yelp.
But he's
Yeah,
making a lot of money. It's unbelievable.
Mm.
Like in the
Yeah,
80s,
then
he's making
then
like
yeah,
$6,000 from one customer. $6,000 back then is a lot
yeah,
of money. And then he
yeah.
have like one of his holy wife. He said, oh, you go and you have to work as a prostitute. I have a very weak heart. I'm going to die already. I've got heart problem. Wow, she really go and become a prostitute. Every month send him money. I said, if
Yeah.
you don't send me money, I will die. Then number one, she don't want him to die. Number two, she's scared that if she don't give him money, he's going to curse her. So he instills this kind of thing. He manipulate them in such a manner whereby, oh, 我很惨, I'm dying already, but so many years still never die lah, still taking money lah, until the day he got caught. It was like
So it's
8
like
years
a
later.
vicious cycle, right? He helped this girl using love spell and potions, and then she go out into the world, and then she earn money for him, and then it's like a cycle, right? He like train her. He's like the girl's mentor to go and be a better girl, serve the customer, and return him the money again. So at the end of the day, he earned two sides, right? He earned from her and the customer. Like I think
He's
I
very
think
smart lah. He's very
he's
smart.
damn smart. I swear, this guy. I mean, I think this is how a sociopath works and all. So I'm going to give a shout out to Singapore Confessions again. Okay, this is Singapore Confession is our parent production house. So we will talk about how psychopath and serial killers and sociopath they work. How their mind churns and all lah. It's very different. Like what I say just now, how we see good things is how they see something bad, and how we see gore is how they enjoy. You know.
Okay, Judy asked why that time he know kena AIDS. I think AIDS that time probably not, haven't really that was well spread yet.
I think
But
AIDS happened in
STD definitely had.
1980s in Africa, right? It was in
Yeah. So
1980s or 1981, even until 1983. We will do a fact check. So that was in Africa before it migrated to,
before it passed down to other parts of the world lah. But
yeah.
STD,
I think
yes
for
lah. When he asked Catherine to go and become a prostitute, right? He pimped her, right, and get customer for her and all that. She got an STD, and she had to like rest for 1 month. He took care of her, like
yeah,
bring her
I
to the
think for
clinic and all that.
for Singapore, because all these girls, they probably like the ones that he will frequently have intercourse with are probably like the more domesticated one, the more obedient one. I'm sure when he sees someone, like the girl, she's like Girl Friday, he probably wouldn't touch her as well. He got so many varieties. What he can choose, he gets to choose leh.
Well, he have a lot of going to her, like he got like factory worker,
Exactly.
admin
So maybe he
assistant,
can pick and
air
choose which one
stewardess, so many.
he
Yeah, so many. He got so many
intuitively
choices.
he intuitively feel is safe and good, then he probably go. I don't think that he also have the strength and energy to, you know, uh be with every girl lah.
They
Yeah.
don't come together, while they come
Probably
one at a time.
yeah. And someone, I think one of the first AIDS cases in Singapore that was very popular was that air steward, that Paddy guy. So Adrian Lim, I think he was
Oh,
like,
yeah.
you know the S word, I think
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, correct. So I think at that point of time, no lah, nothing like that. I think people were more concerned about money, sex and stuff, lah. Yeah. So I touch back on
So
these two women because I think they are quite an interesting character. I mean, until now, I just think that he none of this will happen if he did not get them. And then now it's not just two of these children who lost their life. Leh. In this whole entire bullshit equation, six people, right? Because three of them were sentenced to death. And then Ghazali Agnes and Cole's husband, Benson. So six people because of one man and his like his
Wilfred, can you check
malicious.
no sound? Sorry, hold on. Wilfred, can you hear? Can everybody hear us? Can everybody hear us?
Hi, is it me? Maybe I too excited. Then I pull the mic bo liao.
Okay, can hear. Okay, I think
Yeah.
Paddy was
So
the
yeah,
first to
Paddy.
go.
Yeah, correct. So
Yeah,
Paddy was one of the first who went public. Yeah, but last time AIDS was quite of a taboo, right?
taboo.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
it's
was a taboo. So I for Paddy's case to be publicized like that, I think it was more of an awareness thing that the authorities or the government bodies want to put out. But probably lah, along the way, a lot of them got. It's just that who gets the
I think
the publicity.
back then if you contracted AIDS, then it's either a very expensive treatment, or you more or less
I think AIDS got no treatment at that time.
you won't survive. You will not
Mm,
survive for a long
yeah.
time. But right now
Mm.
medical has changed already lah. So a lot of them
No,
actually
I think
do
AIDS that time
survive way
cannot
longer
one, yeah.
than, yeah, they
Mm.
really live longer and healthier. It's just unfortunate, if they contracted lah. I don't think
Yeah.
that I don't think there's any stigma to it as compared to previously in the 80s or 90s, when people don't know about the infection, right? So they don't understand it. Then always it links up to something else lah. For example, they link up to gay men, or people who sleeps around and all that. But this is, even if you're not, you might just get it just one time. It really depends. Yeah.
So
So yep. Then
back to Adrian
yeah,
Lim, right?
yeah.
Yeah, so we were discussing a few weeks ago as well, right? So do you think that, was he twisted, because he dabbled in the occult? Because he claimed that he's highly spiritual and he told his lawyers and all that there were gods behind him. What? That gave him some sort of invisible power, you know? So, you know what I mean? So all these sacrifices that he did and all this superstition and all, right? Is it because he was already mentally unwell? Something he was insane. That is why he dabbled in the occult, or did his superstition and his paranormal perspective make him crazy?
I
You
think
know,
it's
you,
because
you
of greed.
know, yeah. So we were always like talking about this. I said
Yeah.
okay. So okay, now I just tell you a personal story. Okay, so I know of this a friend. Okay, she's a good friend of mine. She has been in and out of IMH for a while. Okay, and she always go back to IMH for treatment, and her doctor administer for her a lot of pharmaceuticals to numb and dumb down her depression, something called benzo or something lah. Okay, and then but this benzo got side effect one. It gave her like the itch, and it makes her tired and sleepy and all. When I went out with her, she would go through many cans of Coca-Cola, because of the caffeine and the sugar rush that she needed to not feel tired. Then I told her, I say, hey, you're sitting there drinking so much Coke, 7 bottles of Coke, she go through a day like that. And it's not the stevia, or she even told me, don't order Coke Light for me. I will know. I want the original Coke.
I
Then I
also
told her,
know.
yeah. So I said, why don't you just go home and sleep it off? She's like, I cannot sleep. It's just killing me. And because I told her stop taking the pharmaceuticals and then see what happens. And then she stopped taking the pharmaceuticals and she stopped taking the benzo and all. And then she starts hallucinating a little bit. she starts seeing spirits and all. You see, so what I'm getting at is, at first the drug suppressed her and numb her nerves and all, right? Because she was diagnosed with a little bit of depression. And then when she stopped that, I think to find some sort of like uh, remedy or some sort of thing to compensate that she no longer want to feel depressed, then started seeing spirits. Then I think it's almost the same like how Adrian Lin is. It's just that Adrian execute a lot of actions to, I mean, he did it in more of a monetary way. But my friend was trying to understand if it was the drugs that caused her to be okay, or was it her hallucination, that sort of thing. And then we were also
Mm.
discussing about Rayson Ace. So through this paranormal side, I I saw that Rayson, uh, he went in and out of IMH. He has the same story as my friend as well. They both went for counseling and all first before they started seeing spirits. They did not immediately assume that they were haunted by ghosts and all, right? So they also tried to understand themselves better. They they went to seek treatment. Then when the proper treatment cannot help them, they gave up their medicine. Probably they try to find another alternative. Why am I so depressed and crazy? Damn, I must be possessed only. Something is haunting me. It's the same as Rayson. I feel sorry for Rayson, right? Because he died in the end. And my friend sort of recovered, and I'm happy for her. She's a very close friend of mine. I love her to the core, and I want her to get better as well. I don't want her to think whether she's a nut up there or she saw ghosts. I want her to come back in between, like back to normal. But it's difficult when someone has a neurological disorder and all. But
This is
Rayson,
the
he
very
right.
Yeah, this is the very interesting portion where you talk about whether is Adrian Lim or is even Catherine or even Ho, were they having any kind of a psychiatric mental disorder when they were, in their lifetime until they murdered the children because they acted out like so normal. They feel like it's so normal. It's okay to kill, Um, from what I have studied behind them, Adrian Lim doesn't seem to have any psychiatric issues. He grew up in a perfectly okay family, went to school,
but sorry,
got
babe.
married.
Is it because he did not see a doctor? That's why no one diagnosed him, or he claimed he has no psych. It was like after he was arrested, then the counselor.
Because he doesn't possess the traits of anybody who have a mental illness, but he's definitely somebody who's highly manipulative, and it could be a maniac disorder. But because he saw the potential on using whatever he learned from Uncle Willie, right, to really earn a lot of money. I mean, if you're working with Rediffusion now, you 1 month earn about $800 $900. It's not enough, right? 1,000 maybe. But through what he do, the tricks and all that, he can earn like what, one time see you for 10 minutes, I earn $80. I see 10 person in one day, I earn my whole month's salary. I can even up it to like what he was like taking 6,000 from people. People believe in him. So I believe the greed actually did drive him to do more, and it become more exert. And then he was very interested. He really very interested in and he believed, in certain gods like God Kali, the one that he actually did mention
And he
about.
believed in
But
the
of
love
course,
spells. That was
he know that no
that was his
no
initial
he
initial.
he he knows that the love spell can earn him money. He
Yeah,
knows that these are all, he knows that
exactly.
everything he do is just tricks. He admitted that, it's just tricks. Even the egg is a trick. Even if he tell them anything, it's a trick. Even when in a trance, it is also a trick, because if he's not in a trance, he's not able to convince people. He admitted that everything is nothing but a trick. But when in during the statement in a trial, of course he tried to like, he gotten a lot of attention from the media. So he want to like, oh, okay, now I'm a superstar, right? Okay lah. Then I'll just throw some nuggets at you, and then you all can catch it. And well, maybe I really have power. I just want to scare you. His trial was so daunting until one of the witnesses that come um, to testify against him, right, couldn't even look at Adrian in the eye because he was so scared. And he wore a lot of things on his body. So of course the prosecutor asked, "What are you wearing on your body?" Then he said he took out his shirt and said, "Amulets, all amulets hanging on him," and the whole courtroom just laughed. So he
Oh,
really do have that kind of
oh my God.
charisma to instill that kind of fear, especially back then when people are not highly educated,
Mm,
right? You are either a primary school level or at most you are O level. You don't have a degree holder and all that. That's why he hangs around these people who are, they're not well read at that time, or even well traveled. So for him to have that kind of a knowledge, he is able to instill and make you scared, you know.
mm.
Even if
So
let's say
in a
if I
way,
meet him, yeah, if I meet him at that time, I would be scared of him if he tell me stuff like that, because what do we have back then in the 80s? Only got Channel 5 and Channel 8. That's all we have. Radio Fusion, that's all we have. We don't have internet. We don't have like books or whatever. It's a very controlled environment. And for him to understand that in this environment, I can use whatever I learned to make money. Why not? Money is
mm,
one thing. Second thing is sex. He can have unlimited supply of different women having sex with him.
mm.
Yeah. So I don't think it's really he himself. I don't think there's any psychotic issues, but he made other women go cuckoo. Yes, that's what I believe. Like Catherine become
But it takes a
so.
lot to torture and kill children, right? Like right now, even if I was feeling at my lowest, if you tell me to as much as hurt a child, I think that's a line that no one will cross. It takes a lot. I think I think it's all up here. It is
I
more
think
than I think it's more than motivation. I think it's
he no,
more,
it's
you know,
power, the
yeah.
power
But
of being able to
no,
control.
yeah, correct. But these ladies that did this with him, I think they I I personally think it is a mental issue. No nobody kills children. Like I know many depressed people as well. I think it's a line that it's harder to cross. I think it's a niche.
Maybe at the time where he wanted to do that is the heightened state of his mentality to make himself believe to that this is going to solve a problem. But in actual fact, he is actually a coward. Why I say that is because when he was being charged with rape, right, with the this Lucy, who charged him, I mean, who say he raped her, right? He was very he's not happy, and he's afraid of going into the police station and then to make a statement, and then he walked out of the police station and he cried. He went home, he cried, and then he said, "Oh, now I'm gonna die. I need to die already." So he took pills, and then Catherine also took pills. 100 pills. Both of them took 100 pills in front of the altar. They did a prayer and they're supposed to die, but they didn't die. They woke up.
Hmm.
So he is a coward. I don't think that if he is really
But killing and
having some kind of
torturing
a,
is different as well, ma. You
yeah, it's
know,
different. But at that time
yeah.
when
So
he had
yeah,
that notion to even go to that step to do that,
yeah.
that
So I
moment.
think killing is like immediate. You don't have to deal with the pain of someone else. But what he did was torture. I think that's another level. You
Yeah, it
know,
is
you know.
definitely.
Okay, so if now you want to, you're very hungry, and then you are in the jungle, and then you need to eat this beast because you're super
Mm.
hungry. Will you take the beast and then mess up his mind by poking it, and you just want to get in there?
Okay, maybe we go back to the
With
audience. The audience have some questions.
yeah,
Let's see what they
with
say.
like with
Judy
a
was saying,
purpose. So I think the
yeah.
torture portion, that one is another level. That is not just killing. If you want to end someone's life because you want to protect yourself, and then you can just slit the throat or go for the jugular, the fast way to die, and then just get it over and done with, which is our next week episode. Liu Hong Mei. Okay, and Leong Su Cho. My Chinese very bad. I think I'm butchering his name. Okay, so Leong and Liu Hong Mei, right? That's our next week episode. He also immediately strangled her, and then when she died, then he chopped the body, ma. He wants to like end it quick, even though. he and I mean, he didn't bother to torture her and all. So these are children, they are so vulnerable, and then they got this cute face, and I mean, I'm so intrigued by this because okay, so he sexually assaulted Agnes, right? That means when
Yeah.
she wakes up, she can identify the three of them. Then kill her jugular lah. No, no. They bleed her out. He strangle her to make sure she die. They even use electrotherapy on her. I mean, come on. I wouldn't even do that to a mouse. Okay, and then Ghazali, the boy is a little bit resilient over the sedative that they gave him. So when they thought he knocked out, suddenly he wake up, right? Then they wake up, they got scared, right? Then why never stab him to death? Why did they burn him with cigarettes, torture him, put his head in a pail of water, and then watch him die? That is another level. That I think is beyond killing. That is something to satisfy their hatred for children and humanity because they can.
According to him,
If this was a grown,
according
yeah,
to him, he was angry with
yeah.
the
See,
police.
yeah, angry you kill something, you kick the rubbish bin or something, ma. But torturing is a level on its own. If you personally ask me, like, it takes a lot to hurt someone and see the pain. So I even think that maybe his excuse of the police is there. It's there. That is the fundamental of why he did it. But I think he enjoys it.
I think so too, because he tortured all the
Yeah,
women. He tortured everybody who comes to him
correct.
for
So
any
that's
treatment.
why I think he's crazy.
He's probably some
Yeah,
psycho.
So I assume he's crazy inside, and they say that neurological disorder, this sickness, maybe don't quote me, but what I read is that this is biological, don't caused by environment one. Yeah,
Probably
so
because
I watched
he
that.
over the years that he
Yeah.
has delved into it, and then the more
Mm.
I believe lah, you know, after a
They just
certain
trigger
years
him and
of
all
doing
lah.
that, he start to have a lot of fun. To
Yeah,
sorry,
you
can
know
you all
that.
hear me? I think my got no sound. Is it? Can you all hear me?
Yeah, got sound.
I'm just
You
looking.
know, there's this psychologist. He has a PhD in neuroscience, and then when he went to X-ray his brain, he saw that and the he has the seed of he has the brain of a serial killer.
Hmm.
Let me bring okay, let me go find his reference and all. I watched him for a while already. I don't know why right now I forgot his name. Okay,
Okay, I'm going to go
so
back to the audience. I'm going to go back to the audience because they made some comments. Yeah.
okay.
So Judy was saying probably he's a psycho because of the Uncle Willie, and then Jesse was saying probably feels like he had a troubled childhood, which twisted his character. Maybe we do not know a lot about his younger childhood lah, but apparently he studied in a good school and then he was living in a
Yeah, he was in
well-to-do neighborhood.
ACS, and then he
Yeah,
was in ACS and he dropped out in Sec 1. Yeah.
yeah.
So they
So
says that, like,
Mark Ong
actually
said
it
that Mark Ong says that if anyone knows if Adrian Lim was seen by a psychiatrist in his trial, yes, they actually did have psychiatrists talk to him and examine him, but they
I
have
think it
also
was
said
Dr. Cashin
that
or something.
okay, there's two different, one from the private sector and one from the public sector. The private sector, of course, is defending him by the lawyers who try to say that he have a condition, but the from the public hospital, the Woodbridge Hospital said he don't have. So back then, actually, this one will come back later because it's very interesting. Is it because the Woodbridge Hospital, the doctor say he don't have any problem? Is it because they are fighting against the private practice doctor? That's why I don't know. We'll come back to that later. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, Judy said that somehow Silver's story made me recall my past. If I saw it or I was depressed, uh, we don't know. Okay.
Yeah. So,
Um,
like they say
and
it's
Jude,
like
we
it
haven't
is
finished yet. Haven't finished yet.
biological and stuff.
Okay, so
Yeah.
Judy said, "What torture did he do to the children?" Okay, later we'll come to the part whereby we discuss how the children got murdered. Then Jessie was asking, "Is he an alcoholic or a drug taker? Withdrawal symptom or whichever sends them through hallucination stage." I have a close friend who went through this. Well, he does drink, but I don't think he's an alcoholic, and he don't do drugs. He basically takes a lot of sedative to sleep. he don't take he actually give to his women to take it. Okay, Cynthia said that he electrocuted them and dripped lemon juice into nostrils, right? Yes, he did that because when he wanted to punish them, he will pump lemon juice in the eyes or
I
in the
mean, this
nostril
I
and make
think
them,
is another level, right? It's like Jeffrey
yeah, and make them
Dahmer.
drink his urine.
Yeah, it's like Jeffrey
Yeah.
Dahmer could just kill all his victims, but no, right? What Dahmer did was like when they were alive, Jeffrey Dahmer uh insert this like chemical into the brain, and that is a form of torture. Like he enjoys it, right? Then he keep the parts in the fridge and some sort of a trophy and all. So Adrian Lim is definitely on that sort of like the serial killer profile, eh.
He is very
Yeah, he's just
sadistic
like
lah. Like
Bundy and
he loves to
Dahmer.
torture
Mm.
you, and then he's greedy with money, and then he's sex hungry all the time. So he's just couple all this together
Yeah,
until
I
he
think
got
he is
charged
very
with the.
smart to know that sex sells, right? Sex and money, they're always aligned with each other,
Yeah.
especially
So
during the 80s.
when he managed to have like all this coming to him freely, right? It's like, what else can I play with? I already have sex with you. I've taken your money already. What is the next step? I scare you lor. I torture you lor. You know, and they still come back to him. That's the most the thing that baffles me. Like you got electric shock, zzz, then you still want to go back to him. You really enjoy that. I don't know, maybe that time people are different. I'm not sure. I don't think I would enjoy being electrocuted lah, but you know
But then the thing about this, these
some of them had
girls
it very
are,
badly.
yeah, these girls, they are from the nightlife, right? So I wonder if they came to him already intoxicated, so that they
No,
cannot function. I mean, maybe like after work they went to find him and all, right? I mean,
not
this one
really like
I mean,
from what I
this we
read
wouldn't
about
know.
him. Apparently these people, they go to him, they know what they are doing, they know where they are going also,
Or probably
because they're
there
supposed
was
to
an
be the
account.
devotee ma. They're
Yeah,
supposed to be the devotee, right? So they
yeah,
go there and then they'll kneel down and pray in front of
yeah.
the altar and all that. So they are
Yeah. I
definitely
mean,
not
if I was a
intoxicated.
hostess and then I get off work at 2 a.m. and I'm feeling very depressed because my other colleagues have scored better clients and brought home more money than I am. At 2 a.m., I'm feeling drunk and lonely. And then Adrian Lim's number is on my speed dial. I will call him. I'm like, bro, can you help me and not? I'm just there and all. Then he'll be like, oh, yo, come over. Then then probably they are not in the right frame of mind to
Maybe, yeah,
also,
maybe.
yeah,
Because
understand
his
what they're
neighbor
doing.
got,
I mean, look at all his target audience. They are all hosters, right? They probably come and visit
not
him.
all.
Yeah, I mean, sorry. What I meant is that there are a lot of the nightlife girls and all. The street, what's that, what was that called, the street walkers and stuff, that that category of people. What if they were
Actually,
feeling
he did have
lonely
lah.
and depressed, and then they went to find him at the ungodly hours,
He did have a
and then they
few,
found comfort in him? 40
yeah,
holy
they have,
wives leh. 40 holy wives were addicted, interested, and they desired him,
so
knowing
basically
that they have to compete with.
complaints.
Yeah.
Yeah, he had complaints because he do prayers at night and the neighbor
You see,
complained and then he
right?
stopped.
So
Yeah.
probably like after they finished work or something, they were feeling depressed and lonely. Then they went to seek his help, ma. So 40 holy wives means, I mean, as a lady, I challenge and I compete with one girl for another guy already very jialat already, These 40 girls are always competing among the other 39 of them. It really, like, I think it takes I mean, it takes a lot. Probably like he said something to them to lock them in. I I'm very intrigued
Okay,
by how he's
but
able to sell himself to these ladies.
you see, when he was in prison, Adrian Lim, when he was in prison, because of course, everybody know him, right? The wardens will know him, even the prisoners will all know him. So there is this story from the prison wardens that look after him, okay? Because they're all in their individual cell, right? So the warden had to serve food to him, right? Then, um, before they open the door, because they need to open the door, they put the food inside, right? Before they open the door, the food is already inside. But this is what the warden say lah. We don't know.
What?
We don't know. Okay, this is just stories. Then
What?
Then there's another story.
You
Yeah,
mean there is a
another
supernatural
story.
slant in this?
Another story is the warden say inside the cell they sleep on the floor, right? They got a mat. They sleep on the floor or something. But Adrian Lima elevated.
Aiyo.
Why can't- But okay, a lot of these stories are from wardens or even the
I think
policemen
they
who say
also
when they
siao one.
when yeah when they found
They
when
all
they found
they
Ghazali's body,
all
right? They couldn't
sama siao.
yeah. So they cannot find the unit. But they saw when there's a Ghazali body, they cannot find the unit, right? They cannot find this how come the body is here? They cannot solve the case and all that, right? So according to this retired policeman who was during back then handling this case as well, he said they had to get another bomo to come and pray. Then they saw the blood trail.
Yeah.
Okay, but all these are hearsay, yeah. There's no evidence. Okay, there's no evidence in this. What is written in the mainstream media is what we know. Okay, this is a sidetrack.
I was just telling my brother that day, I'm like, hey, you damn lucky leh. You sat on his lap, you bully him, and he can still let it slide. Like it could have been
He
you.
lied
Eh.
lah. I think he lied. You want to
Yeah.
slap him
It's
lah.
like maybe I'm doing episode 1. Your name leh. Walao. That's why
You're very
I
famous
see that.
Adrian
That's why
Lim.
I probably that's why I conclude that maybe he doesn't he also have a compassionate side to him that his friends grandkids and kids, then he also you know what, because you know my brother told me the kids are in and out of his house one, his door is always open. He's staying on the 7th floor, then got corridor so his door always open. Then there's this the altar, or the minute you step in, you can see the altar and all. Then Adrian Lim hardly close the door lah. He's very friendly with the neighbor. Then as I said, like in the kampong, he was called Apui. So he was very close knit with very close with everyone. So the kids also in out. What he could have just like wait for that one kid to come in, slam the door, and then the end already, but no, he made like the Ho Ka Hong purposely go and pick Agnes up and then pick Ghazali up. He doesn't want to hurt people he know as well. I'm not crediting him that he's a good person, but I think like it's easier to when someone is
Easy
close
target
proximity.
lah. Won't link back to him so
You know
easily.
what I mean? Like close proximity, just take and go But no, he actually said, "Oh, go out and find this child and all." So there's also a little bit of compassionate side to him
I don't think
guess.
so lah, because he's crazy. Because
Yeah, he's
before
crazy.
that, right?
That's why, like, walao, he purposely
No,
go and
before he asked them to go and find children is because he had a police case. Remember, he had a rape charge against him, and then he had a meeting with both Catherine and Ho to say that okay, we need to do something so that the police can forget about this case about me. Okay, so they won't disturb me anymore because every 2 weeks, he need to go and renew his bail. So it was nearing to his very first renewal of the bail that time, right? Then he said we need to kill children so that we can Kali will save me, and then the police will forget about the case.
Yeah.
Okay,
That's why it's called the ritual
he pestered, and that time Hao Ka Hong is not staying at his house. Hao Ka Hong was staying at Clementi, so he keep calling, and then he's like, okay, today you bring a fish home. So what happened is, before these 2 children were murdered, there were 3 other kids. Okay, 3 other kids that they brought back, but he said that they are not suitable and send them home. First one not suitable, second one not suitable. The third one, the minute she walked into the house, she feels scared. She picked up the phone and started making phone call, want to call her family.
Not his
so
type lah. They are not his type.
Too smart already. So he faster want to send them back. And then of course he's going to the police station again to renew his bail, right? So he said, okay, today you go and catch a fish. You go and catch a fish. So really wrong time, wrong place. Agnes was in front of the church. It was so nearby, She just, hey, come, you follow me, then just take and go lor. I'm your mother's friend, or I'm your father's friend, or something like that. Is one of the most popular phrases. Okay, children were not murdered during then, but also there are other cases which were molested or even raped, or rape and murder in that era, the same era, and people are using the same kind of approach to children to take them away.
Also, she wrong place, wrong time lah. To be honest,
yeah. So it's a wrong.
Could have
wrong
been
place, wrong time.
anyone, no.
So after they brought Agnes to the house, They play with her, give her calculator, play, eat candy, then coax her to eat the sedative, right? So she took the sedative and then she fell asleep. So then they brought her to the room. Then of course after that, Adrian tried to rape her, but couldn't, and then so he sodomized her. And after that, because she's still sleeping, and then they just suffocate her with a pillow, which is very sad.
Yeah.
Okay,
So
like
these
Mark
kids
Ong
were
say,
also random chosen as well lah. As I said,
so
right?
Mark Ong say, I think in response to Serene's comment about Adrian Lim showing compassion, I think it's more of a case of don't
Don't eat and
shit
shit
where
at the
you
same
eat,
place, right? True that.
or
It's
don't
like
hunt where you live.
what if he has taken his friend's child or grandchild's life, and then now he's going to play mahjong with them, and then the
Okay.
person is grieving and all, and then he has to bear the repercussion of it. It also mess with him, right? It's like 少一点这种麻烦比较好 lah. Like don't want this kind of extra problem. Yeah, but
But he's
the
so
sad
dumb,
thing,
right?
yeah. So, but I tell you the sad thing is that when my brother told me that he and my grandfather looked at Agnes straight in the eye and said, Agnes, go home now. Don't wander around here. Then when she said, I'm waiting for Tete. When my brother told me that, my chills immediately up my spine. I'm like, what? Then my brother was like, yeah, I was just playing with her at the playground because we play all the time before catechism class, right? Like, I think that if she was really caught at the wrong place. This could happen to. So what bugs me is that it could happen to any child. And as a mother myself, right? Like, my kid is way grown up lah. But when he was a kid, you're also a mother, right? Like, I I think we there's so much that we need to hold and protect them, because it could happen to anyone. I don't know, man. I think this is my maternal instinct talking lah, to know that uh this could happen to anyone.
I have another comment here from E. Munir. Here say later Agnes's body was cut open and her hands and legs were forced into the gaping hole into her torso, much like how a steamed chicken was offered to the gods. Her body was then stuffed into the suitcase after the deed. Okay, this part is not publicized because maybe it's too gory, but I don't know whether
What
they
they
mentioned
say
it
was
during
like,
the trial.
her body was stuffed in the vinyl bag, this brown bag, and then the a carpenter, he came back from a midnight movie, and then he found her back at the staircase landing, a block away from Adrian Lim. So Adrian Lim is staying at block 12. They found the bag at block 11, and so he saw a brown bag, right? Like then he just opened the bag, and then he immediately saw
head pop
her
up.
hair, and
Yeah.
and like, yeah. So just less than 2 weeks only, the second murder happened now, which is Ghazali, and then that one
Because
he
he's-
didn't
because he
even
need to
bother
re-
to hide leh. Ghazali
Because he's
border he
supposed to
never
renew
bother.
his bail already, ma.
Yeah,
He's,
so
every time when he need to renew his bail, he wants to kill one child to
yeah,
take
because
the
he want to
attention away.
distract
That was
the
his
he
thought.
want to distract the police as
Yeah.
well. But this time he
Yeah.
never bothered to hide the body like what he did for Agnes, right? So Agnes he put in the bag, and then he put at the staircase landing. Then for Ghazali's body, he
Just buang like that.
he just threw at the grass patch. So okay, so I just in a nutshell lah, I am a volunteer for Crime Library Singapore. So we do a lot of crime scene tours in Toa Payoh. Okay, we will go to Adrian Lim's block itself, even to the level he was staying in and all lah. When I saw the grass patch over there, I felt a lot of disrespect that he has for Ghazali. Like, to just dispose the body like that, it really means that he just want to get it over and done with. If you think about it, like, there's no a point to hide it and all. He was like, dude, I am so powerful. I got away with the first murder for Agnes, right? I wasted a bag to put her in. Now I'm just gonna dump it there, lor. That is the
Because he successfully
correct.
have that case on the newspaper
Agnes,
already. He was flipping newspaper every day. After
So
Agnes
for
passed away,
Agnes,
right?
he was like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well,
Agnes
after
is
Agnes
like,
passed away, he was reading newspaper every day to follow up the case. So he must have reached a point whereby, oh, it's already very big. People are focusing on this case. They're not going to focus on my case anymore. Let's kill one more. so that this boy can accompany Agnes.
But the
And
level
because
of arrogance he have, that one I salute him.
terrible.
Correct. Because for Agnes, he borders to conceal the body, and then for Ghazali, he was like, nah, the gods are behind me. I'm that awesomely powerful, so I'll just throw it and on.
Then they were scrubbing the because
Yeah,
Ghazali was bleeding from the nose, right? So they
try
all
to
are
read the
scrubbing
blood.
they're trying to wipe away the blood stain on along the way, right? So there were neighbors, some neighbor they will pass by, right? They saw them, then he will shout very loudly, "Hey ho, where did you drop your ring?" Try to pretend that they are looking for something
Yeah,
something lah.
yeah,
But I think
correct.
at that
I
point of
think
time
they,
he's already
no,
not so
I
smart
tell you
already
how
suddenly.
how arrogant he is. Also, like I'm mind blown.
Mm. Yeah. So
Right.
after
Yeah.
that, after Ghazali died, and they managed to trace him into his flat, I think it is a very starting sighting for the police, like, because when you walk into a house like that, that's so messy, and then you have like very scary looking idols and deities and crucifixes, and with the light, amber light, and all that, the whole mood is very different from when you open the door and it's a bright sunshine. So it really kind of scared them. But the good thing is, they did not let him go, and they immediately arrested everybody and bring him to custody and started questioning.
Yeah.
I think this is the very interesting part where the questioning is, where they took statement. Okay, when they took statement, they realized that the three of them, they all admitted that they killed the kids, but there are some part of the story just doesn't add up, like different information given. Adrian Lim said he was the one who killed them. The two women has nothing to do with it. He wanted that uh, glory and fame and attention, that he was the one who do it. He even told the police, "Oh, I'm not afraid. The gods are behind me." You know, we wanted to scare them. But of course, when Catherine and Ho did their statement, they told the whole entire life story of how they become his wife and his mistress. Actually, we haven't come a cover about Ho yet. Ho's story, I think, is one
Mhm.
among three of them. I think
It
hers
is
is the
very sad.
most pitiful.
I
Yes,
think so
very
as well.
pitiful,
Yeah.
because she was brought to Adrian Lim by her own mother. Her own mother believed in Adrian Lim.
Mm.
First it was her sister, and then it was her. So her sister also had to go through the same treatment like what she did, the electrotherapy, the sex and all that, and the money loss and all that. But Adrian Lim liked her and wanted to keep her. So want to make her the holy wife. But who at that point of time have I think have a husband, or about to get married to the husband, Benson Low.
I think you
Yeah.
were married already.
Married already. Okay, they were very young anyway, married already. So Benson also go to the house and all that. So like also like one of the devotees lah believe in him.
Mm.
Then one of these days that Adrian Lim again said, "Oh, you need to go to electric shock again." Then Benson was like, "No, no, 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 I don't want to do. I don't do. It's very painful." But she persuaded him to go for it. So when Adrian Lim was doing it, he increased the power to shock Benson,
Mm.
and because of that, Benson died.
Yeah. So I think Benson also very poor thing, right? Because
Mm.
Benson wanted to bring his wife back and away from Adrian Lim. That's why he agreed to go through that kind of electroshock therapy treatment. He wanted to please her. And Adrian also saw an opening there. He probably think that, oh man, he's so, he might move her and I might lose her. So just kill him and then end it. Because
And then
he has the power,
you know what
right?
he did?
Not because he
You know what he did
can.
to Benson? He because he's so warped right at that time. Right? I think he just think of, how to torture this person. I think I'll just make fun. I just want to scare him. I just want to have all kind of tricks on him. So he made him put the sanitary pad, a used sanitary pad on his head to do is one kind, and said that is one kind of a treatment. Huh? Which
He
is
wanted
like,
to
my God, yes.
humiliate him,
Yes,
emasculate
yes,
him and all, because he
yes.
knows that Benson is married to Ho and Ho is his woman. To emasculate
Yeah.
your woman's beau makes you better. Probably he has that sort of
understanding in that lah. Maybe that's what he wants. He wants Ho to see how low Benson can go to bring her back, and how powerful Adrian can to remove and to take away the life of someone if he interferes between his relationship with his woman. He has that
And he
power.
also
Because you see, Benson could have done that. What Benson could also say, "Hey, Adrian, you are always using this therapy on me. Why don't you do it on yourself?" Okay, and then
they won't
Benson
dare
could have
to.
also, Benson could have also done it on Adrian and then killed him as well. But we don't cross that line, ma. So Adrian
Scared
feels
mah.
like he's very powerful because he has all this equipment, and then it's only a matter of whether he want to flip the switch or not, and then end someone's life. It brought him that sort of power that even his victims cannot conjure. At the end of the day, because
And
to be
he also
honest, like,
told Ho a lot of he psycho Ho to say that his her parents don't love her, that
yeah,
if she marry him, then
very
her
volatile.
husband is going to have other women behind her. So it made her hate the husband, made her really don't want to have anything to do with her family.
So these
So
two ladies
and
are
because
Catherine and Hope. Yeah,
no,
sorry.
I think Ho is really not as smart as Catherine. Catherine is smarter.
But I
So
think
she
both
really
Ho and
believed everything.
Katrina, they allow an opening for Adrian to come in and uh and reprogram them. So what I feel sorry for Ho is that she like, I mean, she had gone through so much, and then she
And
fell
she's
into the trap
schizophrenic,
of
huh?
Adrian. Yeah.
She was
Okay, so
schizophrenic,
I
okay?
heard that she was getting better, right? Okay, so over here, yeah, she was getting better with her treatment, and then he come in and kacho.
I, the thing is about schizophrenic is not something that can be easily treated.
But
So
then that's
I
not what Woodbridge said.
yes,
Woodbridge let her go. Okay, so I'm not
they
shaming.
discharge
And
her.
okay, I'm not shaming any intuition, any institution and all. Okay, but Woodbridge discharged her on the fact that she was getting better. Dude, I
Which is
don't
very
think so.
surprising.
I'm
Yeah, very
surprised when I
surprising.
read the book. I'm like, what? She doesn't look like she's getting better. It looks like she needed a source of comfort. She needed an outlet to be loved and all. So instead of treating her for her, her sort of insecurity, you let her out, and then she met Adrian Lim. But who is to fault that, right? As I say, the victims and the criminals, it could happen to anyone. Because at that point of time, if I
But
was
one
vulnerable myself, right, maybe I will fall into Adrian Lim's trap, but who knows? As I say, right now I go on internet, he will get a 1-star Yelp review. But at that time, if Woodbridge couldn't help me, maybe someone else can. So isn't it the same like Rayson Ace and my friend, who they seek treatment from IMH Kang Woodbridge previously, and then it was not successful. After all the drugs to numb and dumb them down, then they seek another alternative, which is the path of the paranormal. And then it messed them
okay,
up
but
even more because it was quite confusing as well.
from my understanding is when you have a mental disorder or a illness, like for example schizophrenic, where you have hallucination and all that, right? You would need um of long-term medication to help you get by, and I won't say get better, but to manage.
Yeah.
Okay, so for Ho, I don't think she was I feel like I don't think she was schizophrenic, but she has anger management. And when you stop medication, that is where your illness gets worse. You don't get better, you get worse. Okay, you start to see more, hear more, hallucinate more. I would not say that they are getting any better, because medication for schizophrenic patients is very important. You cannot stop. You cannot tell a schizophrenic patient to stop your medication. That is wrong. Okay, I don't
But
think
the
I don't
side
think
effects of this medication is very
yes, there
bad.
will be side
Also,
effect.
yeah,
Yes,
also a sort of like um you know what my friend told me was like this medicine dumb them down, and that you will lose your appetite, you will lose
yes,
weight, you will be very tired and sleepy, that they want to give
yes.
up the medication.
You see? And then when they give up the medication, they are fighting the demons in their head. So I I personally think that because their head is very loud, so they mirror the demons in their head to reality, and then it became demon in reality.
It's a neurotransmission that gone wrong lah.
Yeah.
Chemical
So
imbalance in you,
I
especially
think
for
probably,
schizophrenic patients.
yeah. Because I'm very curious. Rayson Ace and the friend of mine are seeing spirits, and both of them have gone to IMH for treatment, right? So did they like mirror what was in their head, like the demon and the demonic voices and thoughts, that they have to remove it from inside because it was very loud and killing them, and then they reflected it outside, and then after that they say it's spirits. So this one will be on Singapore Confessions, because this one will
Mm.
be the boundary of what is real and what is not, what is paranormal and what is, you know uh, your biological you know whole thing inside lah.
Is you believe what you believe, huh?
Yeah, so where did it come from? Did the entity try to hurt you so much inside that you got to portray it outside? Then there is a way to get rid of it. we should bring
Mm.
we should bring the paranormal guys in to discuss this.
It depends on what you're looking at, because if you're talking about somebody who don't believe in supernatural and believe in medical science, you will have a different explanation. But if you're somebody who is like it's not medically explainable, it will be something else. But we are not in their mind, we're not in their zone
Yeah,
of
exactly,
what they
correct.
actually see and what they actually hear, right? For my experience is when I used to work in Woodbridge, okay, when I did my own research when I was working there, even for schizophrenic patients, right? You're not just diagnosed with just one mental illness. You can be a schizophrenic, you can have depression, you can have mania depression, you can have OCD all together at the same time. So there is no pinpoint. Yes, you take the medication, it numbs you down, but it numbs you down better than you kill yourself. If you think about it, and it's more manageable for your family to take care of you.
Yeah,
It's
but that's not
very
what
very
my friend
difficult.
felt though.
Yeah,
My
it's
friend
very
felt that it
difficult, huh?
was more torturous to be medicated, and also her feelings and her thoughts are they are very distorted because of medicine, that she wants to release herself from the drugs.
That's why
This
the
was a
counseling
personal
and family
experience.
support is very important, because it's really
Mm.
not easy. Because I have a friend, her sister was schizophrenic, and her sister have that trait in her from as young as 9 years old. So from 9 years old until the sister was 15 or 16, right? Every time when the sister acts up, right, she will take the bamboo pole, the hand clothes one, right? She will take the bamboo pole and hit my friend, no?
Oh,
She'll blast the music very like she don't care whether it's midnight. She'll
yeah.
blast the music, and the neighbor will start complaining. So
Mm.
it went on until she went to adulthood. Okay, she was still she can still function. Adulthood, she went to work. She got a work as a sales job, but she cannot stay in a job for long. She will work for a few months, then she'll take MC. Then she totally don't go back to work. She find excuses and all that, and then she started to have relationships. She had boyfriends and all that. The what broke her was this one boyfriend that she was with, and then because her condition is getting worse lah, so she acted up one night and she totally uncontrollable. Her boyfriend had no choice but to bring her to Uxbridge Hospital A&E and left her there. So from there, then the doctor have diagnosed her that she have a condition and she needs to be on medication in order to help her to feel better and get better. So that was what she did. She took medication, cannot function, cannot go back to work, but she stopped attacking. She totally stopped attacking. Yes, we cannot, everybody is different. Even if you have your same illness, right? Your reaction will be different, your treatment will be different. It's very individual. It's very, and then like medication also,
Yeah,
you gain
I
one,
I
you
think
lose
so.
some.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because we are not the one taking the medications, right? So we don't know how the effect it is on our body, how it makes us feel, how we're gonna function, like our motor skills. So this friend, my friend, the one that I mentioned, that she went in and out of IMH, and then after that she decided that, oh, probably
the supernatural aspect is easier to justify and understand. She also say that her hand shakes when she take the benzo.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
It's a side effect.
so when we go out together, I carry her trays for her food tray for her because even she doesn't have the strength. Her hand shakes, no strength, and then when she cuts vegetables and fruits, right? She cannot like she cannot cut straight. Like it will shake, and then she risk hurting herself. Then I think
Yes,
like what's the point
that's why
of being medicated, right? If you
no,
you
that's why occupational therapy is very important. You don't just rely on medication alone.
yeah,
In
but I
old
think
age, they will have,
she went through that as well. She went through
yeah,
the
this is all
whole
part and parcel.
physio. Yeah, she went through the whole
Yes,
physio and all. But
yes,
it's just that maybe there's some reaction because everyone reacts differently to the drugs that they are given, right? And then for
yeah.
her, she cannot go back to normal. And then because her mobile skills were affected, she just went off the medication.
Then you get worse, lor.
But then, so now, then
It,
she,
it has to be all okay. The
yeah,
holistic treatment has
so
to
they
be
want
all
to,
rounder.
correct. So
Yeah.
how to incorporate, like, something that can help you and help you physically and help you mentally.
It has to be all rounder. It has to
Yeah,
have family support,
and
friends
this is
support,
and I'm talking
counseling.
about
You
right
have to
now.
go for your therapy. You
I'm
have to
talking
you
about
have to constantly go and see
2022.
your doctor.
Exactly. I'm
You have to
talking about
constantly go and see your doctor. Yeah.
correct. I'm talking about the 21st century. Adrian Lim and his Adrian Lim, Catherine and Ho. This entire thing happened in the 80s, and
Mm-hmm.
that time I don't think there were very good medical breakthrough when it comes to psychiatric
Basic
treatment,
lah that time, basic.
which is
Yeah.
very sad.
Still very basic.
you know.
But
So right now, I'm
but
just
as
thinking that
you
six lives were lost because of the arrogance of one man. Because he was very complacent. So he, yeah, and after killing these three people, the two kids and Benson, the law sentenced him to death as well, which got us thinking if they should abolish the death sentence because what is it like by playing God, you are doing what Adrian Lim is doing, or taking a life, an eye for an eye sort of thing. This also that we will bring it towards Singapore Confession because I think this is more of something that I want to bring to the street interview. Okay, so guys, there's another shout out to Singapore Confession. Okay, that is our unorthodox mainstream site that we want to open to the public where we can talk about more unorthodox sort of topics and all that you all can like voice and all. So will the should the death sentence be abolished? Because I personally feel that the death sentence is something that is very old fashioned, something that is quite outdated. Because a lot of countries already took that law away. So instead of giving a chance to these people and put them in remand and all, you took their life because they took someone else's. So in Adrian Lim case also quite sad because three people already died and then now we continue to kill three more. I don't know, man. Like I
I
don't
think
see
back
any
then,
justification in that
okay, back
But
then
this
when
is
they
the
had
story
this
for
case,
Singapore
right?
Confessions.
They have to appease the victim's family to have a just sentence. So yeah, so during then I think we were more acceptable to, you kill my daughter, then you better be dead lah.
Yeah. It's to
So
give like
it's not so
sort of
much
like
about, it's not
it's
so
to
much
validate
about
the
a
death
human.
lah.
No, it's not so much about human rights back then already, because you
Yeah.
already kill somebody.
Correct.
Or I do feel that Adrian Lim deserved to die lah, because he's a freaking con artist that hurt everybody around him. He's not a good person. I feel a bit more for his wife and his mistress lah, because they were coerced into it. But when there was an assessment done on all three of them, okay, they also have findings why they think that these two women are also being issued the death sentence, because when they were doing the deed, when they were killing the children and all that, it's all well thought of, it's all planned out. There was no resistance, there was no defense. They willingly want to do it because they believe that this is what they need to do. Nobody tell Adrian, no, we cannot do that. Nobody come and tell him that, hey, this is wrong. We shouldn't be doing that.
Because all
Nobody,
these
like, even
premeditated.
no, they don't even have any.
Yeah.
They wanted a kid. They're like, "Okay, come
So
to my
I
house."
think in the law, right, there is a difference between homicide and premeditated and all. It's a different degree of murder. Like right now, if it happened in this era, I think it will be a slightly different judgment from in the 80s. So then
The law is still the same,
no, but you see, like I'm just giving an example, like Noel Gobida's case, the Orchard Tower one, right? So Tan Sen Yang was the one that used the karambit knife and then he killed Noel, right? But the rest of them have already served their sentence in and out, and now they are back out and all. So maybe when it happened in the 80s at that time, right? They might, who knows that they might collate everything together and then they have to serve the same sentence because they are one group, right? And this is also like, so Adrian Lim was premeditated. So I think there are different degrees of the law as well in how they serve the verdict.
But they participated. It's not like they didn't. From the get-go, the planning, the
So
execution,
you see, like
the doing of
the
it,
Noel,
everything was planned. Everything was according to the plan. So
Yeah.
it's not like, I don't dare to do, but I'm scared. No, they were really at that point of time. They actually did go through the whole entire thing without any resistance. And this one we cannot say that they are accomplice already. They are just really part of it. That is the reason why they are all being sentenced the same. So the trial went on for 41 days. A lot of things were being brought forward in court.
in the 80s,
Including
I
like
think in the
200
80s,
over items, 200 over items found in his house that he used as tools to torture
Yeah.
people. It's scary, He got wedges, he got clenched, he got all sorts of things.
Yeah, so I was
It's
also
terrible.
thinking like it's a different level of just slitting the throat and letting the person die within 10 seconds, then torturing them for the entire day and night and seeing them get hurt, and then you get that sort of satisfaction.
Okay, I think also because they have never
another
killed people.
psychopath.
No, they are not killers. They have never killed people before. They are not the sort that, hey, I know I cut this artery, confirm die one. They don't know. They don't know how, honestly, when I look at it, I don't think they know how to kill a person. That's why
But,
they have
but
to
he
go
killed
through so.
Benson very easy, what?
But
Benson,
why is
he just
execution, ma?
Yeah. So he can electrocute them. Why he bleed them out? Why he rape her?
No, because they were
actually,
sedated.
sorry.
He was sedated, so he suffocate. He
I think we
suffocate
cannot say the
the.
word RAPE, right? On
Okay, there you don't say. So he suffocate the girl. He thought by then the girl will be dead, but he wasn't sure. So he want to make sure that she's going to be dead for sure. So when they put her away, then she confirmed dead already. So when I look at it, yes, he's sick in a way, but he is not the killer mind that you talk about. But if he wasn't caught after Ghazali, then he will went on a killing spree. But like I say he's not a very smart person. You kill somebody, you put it downstairs, man. You cannot go further away, man. You're not very smart because he's not a killer criminal mind of that sort. He doesn't have that well thought plan. He's very shallow. It's just, Agnes found next block also they cannot find me. It's just to put downstairs lah. So
okay,
he's
sorry, it's now 10:40 and we are a bit over.
Okay, we ask the audience.
We ask the audience.
Do you want us to continue?
No.
No. Do you want us to continue? The audience, we ask them, do you want us to continue? Because we still have 2 more segments to play.
To cover. We have 2 more segments to
Yeah.
cover. But we are so into dissecting what Adrian Lim and Cole and Catherine did that we lost. Okay, so my tech guy Wilfred says that we all need to time out already soon because I think we
No, we go on. Just go on. We haven't finished. We haven't finished our session yet. We are not done yet. We're not even halfway. We just we started late anyway.
Okay, tech guy.
Anyway.
Wilfred, wait.
Okay, so moving forward, we talk about
Okay,
we
we'll
move
take
forward.
30 minutes,
We
yeah.
talk about the trial in court, right?
And
So
Sister Gerard as well.
the trial is very interesting because it's only during the trial Adrian Lim started saying things that he didn't say in when he was in custody doing his statement. He started revealing a lot more, and nobody know whether he's telling the truth or not anymore. Was it, hey, I just add in this or add in that? Because I know the media the media are in the courtroom, right? Every day the courtroom is packed to the brim, the morning session, afternoon session. So they had to even give out numbers to make sure that, oh, you can only come to the morning one, you cannot come to the afternoon one. Even when the courtroom was full, people
Hey,
were
I think,
outside
wait,
waiting to
I think
hear.
our life is paused, leh.
Huh? No, it's
You,
still going on.
oh,
No, it's
then
still
I
going
think,
on.
oh shit, then I
No, it's
think
still
it's,
going on.
okay.
Yeah. So
Sorry, I
what
didn't
happened
mean
is during this 41 days trial, so many things happened, so many intricate details were being released. So many people come forward to testify against Adrian Lim, and they have to answer very difficult questions. Now that includes people like Catherine and Ho, which they have to relate the whole entire story, what they do with Adrian Lim, and for the two ladies, actually they didn't hide much lah. But for Adrian Lim, I think he added a lot of other little details which either he can or he cannot add. Okay, and he also tried during the trial to make it sounded like it is supernatural, that he have the power.
he
Yeah.
wanted to
So when the
justify
Lord,
that if it's not him being an egotistical a person, it must be that he's so powerful that the gods were behind him. So if it's
that's what he
not
said lah.
right, if it's not a mortal judgment that these human beings, the court and all the law can hurt him, it means that he can ascend and evolve into a more spiritual a level that is beyond man's comprehension. I felt
Then
that
we'll
he
come back
wanted to do
later.
that. Yeah, I felt that he
Okay,
wanted
that
to
one
do
will
that.
come
He
back
wanted
later
to
because
feel like he's better than
at that
everyone
point of time
else.
in court, at that point of time in court, he's a superstar. He's the main
Yeah,
star.
correct.
He wants everybody to have the attention on him, and he wants to he's enjoying that. Like he's a sociopath kind of mentality. Like, hey, everybody knows about me right now. I'm famous. I'm no longer that registration bill collector. I'm no longer that medium. I'm somebody. I'm above everybody. Maybe even to him, oh, Kali made me this famous right now. I'm gonna enjoy it as much as I can. So
And then
when the
now in
prosecutor
court
asked him,
now, yeah, more eyes on him because the whole courtroom is
yeah,
filled with people. So all the more he felt
correct.
that sense of belonging over there.
Finally he's famous.
Correct,
So when the
correct.
prosecutor asked him, did Kali ask you to kill children? Did Kali give you an indication that you must kill children? Then he said, I cannot say much, but I believe in that, and I want to do the children sacrifice to her. So at some point he chose not to answer questions, and then he will tell the judge. Oh no, he will tell the judge something like, my lord, this is about murder. Let's just talk about the murder. Don't talk about other things. Let's just talk about the murder. So he wants to even control how the trial goes on, what should be asked and what should be answered.
Yeah.
He is highly manipulative, I tell you. Highly manipulative, even until then. So when the 41-day trial is over, they took only 15 minutes to pass the judgment that everybody is sentenced to death, right? So Adrian Lim said, hang me tomorrow. I want to die. I don't care.
Yeah.
Hang me tomorrow. Today you sentence me, right? Tomorrow I want to die.
Because he
But the two
already
ladies,
know that he will go down in history as a very
he don't
popular
want to suffer
man.
already, what?
Yeah.
So the two ladies appealed. So because they were appealing, all three of them have to wait until they have exhausted all the appeals. Then they will mark a date in the calendar for the sentencing. So they appeal through the years, but you take time, right? And then all the way until London. But it was even until the President Wee also didn't give them the clemency. So let's come to the next part, which is very interesting. What happened when they are in the death row? How did they go through that 7 years of waiting? It's really sentenced to death, but you waited 7 years to die. Why? What happened during these 7 years? Besides the appealing, something, I would say something magical happened because of Sister Gerard. Sister Gerard is the nun who go in and counsel all the prisoners on death row together with Father Doro, and to talk to them, to counsel them, to help them to accept the death sentence, because some of the prisoners, they don't accept the death sentence, they cannot accept it, you know. And when the appeal don't go through, that is where they got angry. Okay, so Catherine was somebody that lived in the girls' home when she was in charge, so she knows Catherine, and she knows Agnes and the family because of being in the Catholic Church, right? So she felt, you know, she had to reach out to her, and wrote her letters and all that. Catherine didn't want to see her for 6 months, but 6 months later, Catherine wrote her a letter, and this is what she said: "Sister, how can you still love me after all I have done? Your black sheep, Catherine." So Sister Gerard immediately make an appointment and go and visit her. You know, so they talk lah. They talk for many years. They sing songs and all that. Then Catherine finally made a confession um, about her wrongdoing. She finally understand what she did was wrong, because it was so what Adrian Lim made her have sex with her younger brother for 1 year plus. Like. Adrian Lim also made her bring her sister to him so that he can have sex with her. Adrian Lim made her a prostitute. Adrian Lim made her do striptease. Adrian Lim made her bring other women to him so that he can have sex with them. So she really feel that she had done so much wrong in her life, and you know, she wanted to repent. So this is where Sister Gerard comes in and actually help her. You know, so during death row, I think there's a lot of things that we do not know. We thought that, you know, when you're in death row, 你是 deserve to die, you won't have a good life. You know, you're gonna suffer in jail. But on the contrary, they are actually given a passage of dignity to walk towards death, to accept the death sentence. Of course, from this, it also converted Ho to become a Catholic together with her. And 1 week before the death sentence, before the hanging begins, Adrian Lim wanted to speak to Father Doro and made his first confession and converted to be a Catholic before he died. He repented 1 week before he was hanged. So when they come into the question about, hey, I thought you said you got a lot of gods behind you. What happened? How come now? Because he's a born Catholic anyway, right? I think he's a born Catholic. Yeah, because a warden, right? Then now you're coming back to, you finally understand after 7 years, just before you die, that you did wrong. So is he really crazy? Or did he do that just for show? Or what went on in his brain? I don't know. It's very weird.
I think at the end of the day, he still wants to regain that power that he felt that he lost to the enforcers, right? Because if he wasn't caught by the police, he could still exhibit who he was as a powerful medium and a spiritual man. But because he was caught, all this was taken from him and he was left powerless. If I were Adrian Lim at that point of time, I will be like, oh my god, I had everything. I have a following. I got all this knowledge on spells and how to perform rituals and all. I got all these women behind me. And then I made a silly mistake. I left evidence of my murder. And then suddenly everything was taken from me. So now he cannot go free outside. He has to deal with what was in front of him, and that's his imprisonment, and he lost control of everything, you know. So I think,
But I think
so I think at that point of time, right, in the courtroom was his last attempt to show that he still had power, but it cannot be on the mortal sort of perspective and realm. It has to be something paranormal because people don't understand and he needs to confuse them. That is why he keeps saying that it's okay, the gods are behind me. So even when his counselor came to him, he also said that it doesn't matter, I die, I still am that powerful because the gods are behind me. At the end of the day, I'm not a man. I am a god embodiment. So
I think it's just
what he
very
was,
arrogant.
yeah. So what he was
He was
trying to
arrogant
tell,
until 1 week before he died.
yeah. So what he was trying to
Because
tell
he
the
kept to
people,
himself. He kept to himself in prison during the 7 years, right? He
I
mostly
think
kept to himself. He don't have anything. He doesn't make any appeals. He doesn't have any requests. You know, he just kept to himself.
yeah, I
But
think
because he
that
keep hearing them praying and he heard the prayers and all that. So and towards the last week, I think maybe the last one was like he become human now, that
He
suddenly
probably
wake up
think
already,
that everything
human.
that is man-made is beneath him because the law is man-made, but everything spiritual is probably God-given wisdom.
I
So
would like to think that
he wants to,
there's a human side of him that we never get
yeah,
to
he
see
does, yeah.
in the
Because
media.
based on
Yeah.
my brother's encounter with him, right, I felt that my brother also thinks that he's a good, not a bad person. No one saw it coming when he was arrested. The whole entire village also said that, "Walao, Apui 被抓." Apui was arrested. Like they were shocked as well. It's not like they saw it coming. Like, this would happen because he's such an ASS. You see, so he actually had a reputation of being like uh, like a good neighbor. But
I think he is
in
very
the
good at
in
talking lah.
correct, so
He's a
in
sweet
court,
talker.
yeah, so in court he lost all that power, he lost all that control, and I I personally think that he needs to, at the last breath, he also needs to get it back, right? Because he took away,
On the
so
contrary,
he took away so many
his
lives.
immediate neighbor, right? See, he's a very arrogant person who will never say hi because there's just two old lady that live there next to him. Now they're very old lah. I mean, back then, according to them, he's a very arrogant person. He will not say hi to them, and if he's in the lift, he will quickly close the door. He don't want to share the lift with them.
Yeah.
Then when he goes downstairs to the coffee shop to buy chicken rice, he loves to eat chicken rice, by the way. When he eat chicken rice, he will order extra chicken rice. And then the but ask, so did he finish all the chicken rice? Because he's quite fat, right? Did he finish? No, he didn't eat all the chicken rice. One plate is
Guys,
for
we are
him.
not fat
One
shaming
plate,
here.
one plate is for the 小鬼, the ghost that he's feeding. Yeah. So people know that he's a medium, but we will not say don't know he's a medium. But to some people he's nice.
He's quite
To some
well
people he's
known
not
in
nice.
his community. He's quite well known in his community one. Even
In his
my
blog,
grandmother
yeah.
go to his house. My grandmother go to his house to gamble and also ask for spiritual advice. Yeah, so he was like the go-to man for remedies. Example, like he would give out blessings and he will also help you curse someone. You know that time got the 打小人 thing, right? Like you beat the paper man and all. So he does all that. He's quite versatile and he has all this knowledge, right? So at first it was from Uncle Willie who taught him Thai magic and and all the Malay sort of like what's it called, the Bomo things and all. And then from there he felt like it's good for me to know more because I think he's very receptive over the more paranormal sort of path. He felt that this is the path that can also earn him more money. You know what they say, right, in Chinese? If 你不走正，你走邪嘛. If you don't go and get a white or blue collar job, then you go and do that sort of like, the vice. So to me, this was a vice activity at that point of time because the people that he's dealing with are from the same category. It's like, to me, it was a vice genre that he can tap on. If not, if he was mingling with the white collar guys, he would not even be doing all these rituals. He would not be performing all this. What? He's a charlatan.
Maybe they are lah, but we didn't know. They also don't want to testify.
Maybe the white collar people also seek him for help now. Who knows?
Yeah, but they will not come forward and testify him.
Correct.
Maybe.
After all, it is a very close-knit community lah. From the testimonial that my family gave and all. Because that time it was not like this one. Nothing is as accessible. Nothing is. Okay, I think my tech guy also say that our life needs to end soon because there's a hour count and all. But it'll be okay. So another shout out. Okay, shout out to Singapore Confessions. All right, Singapore.
Okay, why don't we go back? Okay, why don't we just we just wrap it up pretty quickly lah. Okay, because I think we also need to just focus on TCC for this topic right now. That the takeaway that I learned from this case is it's very simple. I think it's linked to scam, I think he used the scam tactic on a lot of people, and that's why they believed in him. He conned so many people money. Like when they caught him, they found $100,000 in his house, cash in his house. You know, who keeps
That's a lot of
100,000
money
cash in
at
the
that point
house?
of time.
That's a lot of money in the 80s.
He
You know,
cannot
this like
deposit
they're very
in the
rich.
bank, right? Cannot
He
deposit.
have
He
good
has to
life because
avoid.
every day
Yeah.
every day he will eat in from restaurant. You know, he will bring catering food to the restaurant.
Yeah.
Why
He
catering
will
still
buy
eat
them a
good
lot of
life?
luxury stuff.
Yes, so they were enjoying, you know. So if you say that they have some kind of a mental illness, I think it's in a way, but they also kind of enjoy their lifestyle, because where else can they go? If they leave him, they won't get to enjoy this life anymore. So it's a matter of I think that to the general public, it's a matter of like the scam level that he possessed, which is very, very strong. So we have a video from a consultant. He is from Mindstro. His name is Dannie. He is going to share with us. Okay, usually we talk about scam, we talk about scam victim, how to prevent and all that, right? But nobody actually talk about how do we talk to the scam victim after they are being scammed. You know, what should we do in order to support them? What are the things that we shouldn't say? What are the things that we can say, right? So now maybe Wilfred, you can play the video.
Hi, my name is Danny, and I'm a coach at Mindstro. Now today, since the topic is all about managing scams or understanding scams, so I'm going to share with you how to manage your emotional impact due to fraud and scam. Now, when you or someone that you care about has been a victim of fraud, it is powerless feeling. There's a powerless feeling towards it. Now, there frequently seems to be nothing you can do to feel better. The scammer is typically almost impossible to track down. You take all reasonable steps to safeguard yourself from additional monetary or legal harm. But how do you handle your awful emotional state? Now, let's now discuss how this affects you personally. There are several types of scams. We have heard of scams including calling you concerning your home computer, romance, particularly on internet relationships, people impersonating as government agencies, spiritual healing scams, and many other things. As con artists get more inventive and take advantage of significant global events like the COVID-19 outbreak, we are all left wary and on guard. These con artists are quite skilled at what they do, and occasionally even very intelligent individuals fall for their tricks. People are affected emotionally and mentally by fraud and scams. We hope the information provided here enables you to identify methods to assist yourself if you have been a victim, or what you can do to assist a friend or relative who has been a victim. First of all, these negative emotional effects are very common. The grief phases are such as anxiety, shame, embarrassment, guilt, anger, depression, fear, loss of trust in others, loss of sense of security, sadness. If you have been the victim of a fraud or scam, it will be helpful for you to find ways to look after yourself. As such, relying on your support network of loving family and friends, scheduling self-care activities, and avoiding getting stuck in negative or distorted thought patterns related to all this fraud and scam that you have gone through. Now, accept your emotions and feelings. Look through that list once more. They are quite unpleasant emotions, for sure. People frequently endure these kinds of feelings for a long period of time when something similar occurs. This is totally normal. Additionally, it doesn't or shouldn't last forever. Many individuals discover that once they stop attempting to avoid experiencing these things or any feelings at all and start to let the emotions unfold, the emotions begin to lose their power over you. They'll get less intense. Find the most dependable family and friends for you. As you continue to listen through this, you'll discover that later on, we'll offer some advice on how to support family and friends. Now, find the individuals who are making you feel better, not worse. After discussing this with them, pay attention to what happens to your thoughts and emotions after doing so. Self-care. There are many self-care strategies out there. Allow me to share the 3 different types of quick remedies. One of them is calming down any negative thoughts or sentiments, all by inhaling deeply and intentionally relaxing the shoulders. Put your focus on your breathing, the sound and the weight of your breath, breathing in through your nose and out through your mouth, just like this. Good. Now the second is doing regular activities that you enjoy or are passionate about. I see this as building your resilience so that you can handle the challenges of life as they come. Some examples of activities are such as getting up and being on the move, like doing mindful walking on a daily basis for at least an hour to release endorphins and boost your mood. Next, practice gratitude regularly by writing in a journal, visualizing all the good things you have in your life, or finding ways to show appreciation to those close to you. The third is setting good boundaries for what you say and do, as well as communicating to people how you want to be treated. Know what you can control and what you can't control. Focus on what you can control and put a back burner on those you can't control. Monitor and adjust your thinking. At least two things will happen as a result of your thoughts. They will affect your emotional state and they will inspire some kind of behavior. If you are reflecting on what happened and focus on negative self-talk, you are going to feel terrible. Reprogram or change your perspective to include things you can control and extend forgiveness to your good self. And know that it's true that we all make errors occasionally. Now, in a nutshell, it is common for us to be motivated to avoid the negative zone coming at us. And instead, try being motivated to work towards what is positive and what you can easily control. Also, what you feed your head is what you become. Feed your mind with nutritious information like self-help books, interesting bios, or watching inspirational movies. Next, ask for help when you need it. You could be convincing yourself that you should be able to deal with this or that you're reading too much into it. But really, we could all use some assistance. Ask a family member or friend you can trust for assistance. Additionally, seek out a truly authentic life coach who will be your confidante for you to speak with if you are unable to regulate your thoughts or emotions. Next, now we are going to come at the part where we are there to support those who have been the victims of such fraud and scams. So it is kind of concerning. However, the fact is you need to understand that the following suggestions are on how family and friends may assist someone who has been scammed, and it's really deep down inside that they will feel anxiety, even depression, maybe thoughts of suicide. So these suggestions might be beneficial to a person who has fallen victim big time to a fraud or a scam, as well as to relatives and friends. Firstly, understand your role in this situation and be ready to listen and empathize without judgment. It seems sensible to provide someone a shoulder to cry on, but it is crucial to listen and feel this person's pain without passing any judgment. Just know that it is a valuable blessing to be able to talk to someone who will not criticize you for making a mistake, since the person is already criticizing and beating themselves to death than you will ever could have. Now, next, don't ever say this. What were you thinking? How could you be fooled by that? I would never have fallen for that. Everybody knows about that scam. My goodness. Well, remember, the scammers prey on people's needs, fears, and emotions. When the con artist offers a simple method to obtain something we desperately desire or means to avoid something we are extremely fearful of, we might perhaps be more readily duped unconsciously. So, these remarks merely serve to increase one's sense of embarrassment, shame, and insecurity, which isn't helpful at all. So know that, guys. Okay? Remind them that this does not imply that they are foolish or stupid. Scammers are incredibly skilled at their trade. This should be said again. Scammers are extremely skilled at their trade. They employ human psychology-based strategies to persuade others that something is not as it appears. One method is to spend a lot of time engaging with the person they want to scam. All this in order to build rapport and trust, just like those romance or sweetheart love schemes, or to highlight that the person must act swiftly to avoid further problems or disaster, as in with government agencies or spiritual healing scams, or to obtain something, as in lottery scams or job. Scammers frequently appear nice and genuinely concerned about the person they are attempting to scam. These are only a few instances of the skills fraudsters employ, and it is critical to urge the person you care about to look at the issue honestly and understand what made them vulnerable rather than assuming that they must be stupid if they fell for a scam. Now, focus on what can be done instead. It is extremely normal for someone who is in or has been in a terrible circumstance to go on and on about all the things the person wishes they could have done differently. People become emotionally stuck in this at times, and for a variety of reasons are unable to break free from this detrimental thought pattern. Instead, encourage them to direct their attention to the things they can control rather than the ones they cannot. Taking some form of action to make things better, no matter how tiny, is one thing that seems to help a person feel unstuck, one step at a time. For example, if you can make someone you care about feel better by getting informed about scams or the psychological strategies used by scammers to avoid being fooled again, or getting involved with a community group that supports individuals who have been scammed, or reporting the scam, and then motivate the person to do so. These are beneficial behaviors that assist people in healing. They are also focused on the future rather than the past, which may assist transform a person's mentality to a view to the event as a learning experience and a mistake rather than feeling a total failure in life. Help them forgive themselves. This has been the most difficult issue for the clients I've actually dealt with. Now, when the victim of the fraud realizes what has transpired, they may feel like a complete failure in life. They lose sight of the notion that no matter how severe the consequences, it is still a mistake. We all make errors from time to time, and encouraging them to forgive themselves will help them achieve some peace of mind. Now, in a nutshell, do remember we have to support them to move through the grief cycle as soon as they are able to glide from the few phases of negative emotions as shared earlier to accepting what has happened and taking that massive action to move forward in life. And I hope with all those that I've shared with you, it makes a lot of sense. And if there's anything else, I'm so sorry that I can't be there today for the live session, but perhaps we could take some some questions from you guys, and I'll probably answer on the next session. And with that, thank you guys and have a great evening.
Wow, 那个 video 还在 okay, okay, I think we're done. Okay.
Okay, finish already.
Yeah.
Yep. Get ready.
Hi guys, thanks for
Okay,
staying with us. So that was
Thank you,
Dannie.
Mr. Danny from Mindstro.
Thank you, Dannie. Thank you. I will take your advice very, very seriously, and I think that I will be very safe. Scammers stay
with that-
away. Scammers stay
With
away.
that, we have to wrap up tonight because we overrun for let me see, 45 minutes. It's supposed to end at 10:30, but now it's already almost 11:15. So
Yeah, me and
thank you
Grace
guys
are-
if you have
we
stayed
will
with us from
always-
the beginning to now.
Me and Grace will always talk non-stop one. When we do Zoom, we load
4
Zoom
hours.
like 4 hours. Oh my god, thanks
So I
for
hope
staying
you
with
guys
us.
enjoyed today's episode. If you have any suggestions, please let us know. If you have any questions, if you have been scammed and you need to talk to somebody, you have some questions, or you want to help somebody, you can drop some questions here, and then Danny will try to answer and see whether he can help in any way or not. Okay, Danny is an old friend of mine, and he's a very helpful person, and really thank him for being able to lend his voices to us, because he speaks about things that we hardly talk about or understand. Yeah. So without further ado, we'd like to wish you a very good night and a very happy weekend. We hope to see you next Friday.
Happy Mooncake Festival! Enjoy your lanterns and mooncake tomorrow. Okay, so I am from this hiking group called Hike and See Singapore. Tomorrow we got a Chang'e walk. If you are interested to join, find us on
Who's
Facebook.
walking?
A lot. Ivan, another of our founder, Ivan Chase, is hosting the walk tomorrow for Hike and See Singapore. If you're interested to join us for the Chang'e walk, we will go and play lantern, eat mooncake under the full moon and all. Check us out on Facebook, Hide and Seek Singapore, and then you can join our Telegram group, Hide and Seek Singapore. We have activities group and the main group itself and the discussion group, 3 groups. Okay, and check out our Hide and Seek store for our merch. Wow, now in the aircon room, this hoodie damn shook. Very shook, very shook. I love it, I love it. Okay, so
Okay, before you go away, we have a message for you right after this. So stay tuned for another 3 minutes. And this message is quite cute lah. Okay, hope you enjoy. Okay, bye.
Bye. See you guys. Thank you for joining us
Bye-bye.
tonight on True
See
Crime
you next
Coffee
week.
Talk.
Remember, never talk to a stranger and never follow a stranger.